Could you stand a little taller, just a tad?
Like this?
Yes, yes. The chin a tiny bit lower. Gaze a little more to the right. There! Now, hold the pose.
This is GreedFall. Completely lacking any multiplayer content, it was made from the ground up as a single-player experience only. I'd wager 65% narrative, 25% fighting, and the rest what's left of it just running around in this entanglement, not easy to navigate map trying to find mission objectives. You can by this description you can definitely see how only a single player person enthusiast can play this game. This is by no means a hack and slash action RPG. There are so many cutscenes and so much story unraveled in dialogue. Patience would be the key word here if it comes to Greedfall. In the small moments when you do get to put up a fight, brace yourself because the odds will kind of always be against you, at least in the first 5 hours of content, especially if you're playing at a higher difficulty.
Team Freddy! Ahoy!
Story. It is an excellent one, with twists and turns, up to the point that you doubt your own origins and you no longer know who is the good or bad guy anymore. Your character comes from the continent. Here, there is a plague, some sort of infestation that goes around the land. Your mission is to set sail for the new world, which is the island, and try to find a cure for the plague. Not to mention, try to solve the diplomacy issues that have been going on around there. Imagine kind of like the British going over the American land in a struggle with the Indians. This really summons it up. The local natives have love for the forest, respect for the animals, and use magic from time to time to help them on a daily basis. The colonial people, of course, hate the natives and they are at war with them big time. Your character lands in the middle of this chaos and tries to play as the good guy. You have choice to carry along two companions, and depending on your choice you will have different options in your missions and somewhat different lines of dialogue depending on the side quest or anything like that. So it's kind of worth exploring and taking different companions from time to time because the outcome of the story might be a different one. The story, like I mentioned above, is very, very good. Even the side quests are pretty awesome, and every mission is worth exploring and taking. It's kind of like reading a good book, except from time to time you get to change the outcome and occasionally jump into a fight. Some of which can actually be avoided via dialogue choices if you're not feeling brave enough.
It's not over. We need to warn our allies.
Let them fend for themselves. Would they have come to save you if the situation had been reversed?
One thing is certain, we cannot save them both. You will need to make a choice between the two.
Graphics and sound. This is really something special and kind of hard to explain and put my finger on. If you're looking at a random gameplay on YouTube or some sort of in-game print screen, I don't think you're gonna be impressed or get the right idea about the graphics. However, when you play it, you'll truly enjoy the graphics. The cities look kind of boring and the entire design, while still you can see the effort that has been placed into making it, nothing to be impressed by, and it kind of looks repetitive. All the interiors kind of look the same. Where it actually really starts to shine is the nature landscapes and forests. Guys, no joke or sarcasm, this forest looks better than the one in Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Far Cry 5. What lacks in photorealism, let's say, it makes up greatly in detail and credibility. When you run through the forest in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it does not feel like a real forest. It kind of
Given the
feels like
presence
a
of the
pretty
terrorists,
looking one from a
there
video
must
game.
be a nest not far from here.
GreedFall has not the best ever graphics, but it does have one of the best ever implementation of a forest. The sound is so subtle, nothing is exaggerated, everything is just refined. Depending on the part of the forest or time of the day, you will encounter different animals, and birds will make different sounds either up close or maybe a little bit from the distance. The wind sound is not
Colonize is one of
exaggerated
those
like in
creatures.
Witcher
Let's be
3.
wary. It could very well be
Everything
the
it
bearer of a
feels
great tale
calm
the
yet
hunters may.
full of life. And every tree, every bush, the way the rocks are made, they really look like they've been placed there with care and they took their time with the graphics. It really looks good and credible, It feels like you're actually there. The God rays in Assassin's Creed or in Red Dead Redemption 2, those I believe are very, very exaggerated. So much that you probably never will see that in real life, or it's just gonna feel like a video game. Greedfall has an amazing God rays implementation. It's so subtle and just makes everything look realistic. So much attention to detail. You're running around a waterfall or a forest opening between trees or a cave entrance. The light opens up amazing and the entire scene is full of detail. The subtle movement of animals, birds in the distance. If I can say anything good about this game is would probably be like three things. Story first off, the way the forest feels and looks, and single player. Yeah, believe me or not, single player in 2019 having a good narrative is a quality feature.
We are here to arrest the commander's lieutenants.
Is that right? Now this ought to be good. And for what crime would that be?
You know very well. For high treason.
Oh, and you think that my men are just gonna let you, without so much as blinking an eye?
Whether they move or not, it matters little.
I must admit, you're not short of courage.
Weapons!
You can choose between three different type of classes at the start of the game. You can be a fighter, a mage, or a technician, or an engineer, depending on the games that you've been playing. It's basically the same class. These classes are not locked and you can mix them up together as you wish during game, creating your own unique build. In fact, the crazy part and something that I really didn't like how they implemented it, to complete certain quests, you need to have a certain skill or ability. Let's say lockpicking or crafting. And what kind of bothered me is that maybe you don't want to be a crafter. Maybe you don't want to, invest points in crafting, but the game kind of forces you to invest a skill point in that just so you can finish the quest. The good part is that, of course, an important detail would be that you can respec. So don't worry about it. You can always get your skill point back at some point, but it's just something that I felt like it was forcing my hand. And in other games like Dragon Age, you can always switch the main character and you can use a skill from a different character and you don't have to put it on your main.
You know who they were?
I did not find an option here. I don't know how to switch between characters and I don't think it's possible. I might be wrong, but again, it kind of forces you to choose certain skills just so you can do a side quest, and yeah, that's kind of like a minus. Slowly but surely, I need to descend and start talking about the negatives. Because of the fact that you can take different members in your party that affect in some measures the quests, and you can make different builds. They can add to your character. You might be inclined to purchase this thinking that it has replayability and basically you can finish the game not more than just one time, and that would be kind of worth it. Well, not for me. No, definitely not for me. I'm not going to play this game ever again. I'm pretty sure I had enough one time of it. It starts really, really strong in the first part, where is the intro, before you embark on your journey at sea. It looks very, very promising, and then you get a cool boss at the end of it. It really gets you, hooked up. Unfortunately, the more I played, the more I found bugs, and really just not the bugs, more like the game mechanics. Mechanics that can never ever be changed because that's how the game was made. And there are a few minuses here, at least from my point of view. There's no minimap. I had a very hard time knowing where to go and knowing where the quest is. The road in the forest is always very well defined, meaning you can never stray from the path. Even though it's a forest, GreedFall is not like Witcher 3 or Skyrim. It really forces you to always walk on the road up until the point where it gets kind of frustrating, it gets annoying. You feel like you should be able to at least step a little bit on the side, but it always like take the road or that's it. You also kind of stumble on small rocks that you feel like normally he should be able to step on them, but no, it just forces you to go on the road. During fights, if you stun an enemy or slow him down as a mage, because I played a mage, your companions in your party do not attack. They just freeze and do nothing. I think that's a bug. After you talk to a certain NPCs during some quests, not all of them, of course, the quest will not trigger right away. That's also a bug. Huge, huge problem with the hitboxes. At least for me, it was. The hitboxes, I think they're kind of messed up. Lots of moments when the enemies hit you from a very long distance, and lots of moments when you actually dodge. It shows that you dodged, and you don't take any damage, but clearly you see that you should have taken damage. I can't really explain it. The hitbox during fights, they are not like in Dark Souls. They're not precise like that. It shows that you should have gotten hit, but as long as you press shift, you're kind of fine. I don't know. For me, it made me lose a lot of fights because of this hitbox system. Lots of quests where the enemies are too strong, and it's not like you're supposed to wait until you get stronger, level up and then do the quest. It's like for 5 hours you've been playing at normal, and during an important main mission, all of a sudden the difficulty turned up to very hard. I don't understand how the difficulty level kind of scales with your level in Greedfall, and it can get frustrating. Finally, performance. No need to worry about it. This game will run 30 FPS with tweaked graphics on the lowest hardware. You can play probably on anything. Uh, there's nothing fancy about it. It just runs very, very smooth. If you do have a rather new computer, regardless of its specs, I'm sure you can play it at ultra or anything like that, 100 frames, whatever, no issue. In the end, Greedfall is only for people that love single players and have the patience and time for a long narrative and immerse themselves in the story. Because it is worth playing and the story is interesting. I would kind of like go out on a limb and compare Greedfall with Dragon Age 3. This game, in many aspects, kind of feels like Dragon Age Inquisition. So I guess until Dragon Age 4 that comes out in 2020, I hope it comes out, then this could be a good alternative from an indie company that tried really hard in making something worthwhile. And I think they kind of succeeded for a certain targeted audience, a niche audience. If you are one of the people that enjoys what I've mentioned above, GreedFall is worth playing.
We healed them all, thanks to you. May the grass always be soft beneath your feet.
I beg of you, help me.
And still you dare to breathe. How can you hope that I am here to save you?
No,
What have you done with my mother?
pity, I beg of you. I don't want to die.
Then answer!
Siora. Need some help?
They took her. The Queen.
We must find her. I will not leave her to their whims.